What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the TheDomCast, episode 35 or 36. I didn't take the time to check, bro. This season has been crazy. A lot of shit going on right now. We got Rod, but E is MIA. Say what's up, Rod. Say what's up to the people.
Hey, what's good, everybody?
Yeah, we are here on a Friday, so you will hear this next morning. Only a couple of games will have happened by then. I guess we'll just go ahead and start this off, kicking it off to the guests. How are the Magic, Rod? Because I actually have not seen them that much so far. We have a lot going on, but the Magic will get lost in the fray if we don't talk about them now. So let's go with Orlando. Let's go with your team.
The best way I can describe it is that my relationship with the Magic right now is bipolar at best. Because at some instances it looked great. At other instances, I'm like, what we doing here, Chief? What is going on?
Yeah.
So they've had games where they played well, but they've had games where they freaking shooting in the 30 percentages is like the fourth quarter. So I mean, defensive wise, they're okay, but offensive, they need to sharpen up. And they play the Bucks tonight, so I don't know who got Giannis. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm just about to add to his triple-double count tonight. How's Markelle Fultz looking, though? Because that's probably the most important thing. That's probably the only thing anyone really cares about the Magic for right now.
I'm pretty sure he's averaging like 10, 11 points right now. Been in double figures, probably like 3 out of the 4 games. But he's only playing like 20 minutes right now. But as far as how he looks on the court, he's been doing pretty well as a playmaker. He's been taking good looks, and he's actually been hitting jumpers too. So
good synopsis. The form looking all right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was hitting turnaround jumpers off the dribble, so it's not just. I mean, form wise, it could be better, but like it's not where like freaking hezzy in the shot anymore.
Yeah, I remember one time when he was with Philly, he took that free throw. And that shit was like it was like an old animation from an old video
like
game.
Like the game lagged.
Yeah, right. Like the game, like that shit was like, oh, whoops. That shit was crazy. All right, so yeah, that's good because I was definitely rooting for Markelle. He had a very terrible start to his career because of whatever that was. You call it an injury or whatever. I'm not sure, but good to hear he's doing good. Thank you for asking. The Celtics are doing great. Life without Kyrie has been.
I mean, it was the first couple games were like a little from Kemba looked a little rough, but like he put he had a 30-pointer recently. So
yeah.
And Gordon is. What is it?
Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, Gordon Hayward. Yeah, I'm sure. I was thinking because Aaron Gordon similar name, so I was tripping. But
I feel you.
He had like a 2010 game. I think that's the first time he's had that in like forever. So.
Yeah. He looks confident. He looks confident, and that's why we were laughing at Kemba. Because I think last week when you and E were here, we watched the Knicks game after that. Knicks and Celtics, I believe. No, it wasn't the Knicks. Who were they playing when y'all were here? You and E were here.
Was it Toronto?
Yeah, Toronto. Yeah, and we were, Kimball was like in that first half missing layups and shit like that. I was like, yo, we might have to send this guy back to Charlotte. But he's looking nice. He's building his teammates up after games. I don't think we're gonna have any sound bites from him this year telling the other guys that they're too young and they don't know their shots yet and all that. He's looking pretty comfortable on the court. He's looking confident. Same thing with Gordon Hayward, and I'm just happy about the overall fit with the Celtics because, as you know, talent doesn't always equate to wins as it did not last year.
Did Brown play in the last game?
Jaylen Brown did not play in the last game, no. So that's what allowed 2018 Tatum to get off. Actually,
what was he out for?
I did not see the diagnosis. I don't think it's anything serious. It was just I'm not actually sure why he was out, but because that night was taken over with the comeback against the Bucks and then B Tatum going off because Tatum looked like the Tatum we imagined always.
It's like, he's only 19.
yeah, right. Yeah, like he's only 19 still. Yeah, that was 19-year-old Tatum going off last night. So that's a little bit about our teams. I know none of y'all out there really care about the Magic or the Celtics, but we're 3-1. Life is straight right now. Speaking of that, we can talk a little bit about Toronto too. Have you been paying attention to them with Siakam? Because he's looking fire as hell right now. I'll look up his averages while you're talking.
I did say that I felt like he could fill a similar position that DeRozan did before he got traded, and people started looking at me crazy in the room. But as far as how he's been playing lately, besides the couple of times he's found out, I mean, given his length and his size, like he's already hard to guard, and he has his confidence now. So
this man right now, I mean, it's a small sample size, but it's 5 games, and this is the role he's going to be playing all year. He's averaging 28 points, 9 rebounds, and his splits are 44% at 3. Damn, so. That's with 5 attempts per game, 5 3-point attempts per game. He's at 44%. And then field goal percentage is at 51%. Like those are over through 5 games. Obviously, those are damn near MVP numbers. Like through 5 games.
I mean, obviously, it's probably going to level out as the season progresses. But the Magic did play Toronto. Was one of their 30% games, and he was looking nice. So.
Yeah. Well, was it you and Eric that laughed at me when I brought up? I don't know if it was during the summer. Somewhere I brought up a Kawhi Leonard comparison. Because I was just saying, like, during the finals, you remember Kawhi in 2014, like, he was on the Spurs team and he was good, but he wasn't like Kawhi.
He wasn't the face.
And that's what I said about Siakam. That was my comparison to Kawhi Leonard, was that Siakam was in the finals last year. He got his championship, but you knew he was going to be a world better than he was in that finals. That's kind of the comparison I was trying to bring between him and Kawhi Leonard. And it looks like it's panning out right now because
especially with Lowry, him being on a 1-year deal or 1-year extension, his future, I mean, he's not getting any younger. His once things progress, it's more or less going to be Siakam's team.
Yeah,
and it's already more or less he's kind of paving the way.
And the crazy thing about this all is, we all came into this year. Where did you have the Raptors in your playoff seeding? I had them.
I had them there, but I didn't think they were going to be, I didn't think they're playing better than I expected them to play right now.
Right. I think I had them at 5th seed. So that was like not too good, not too bad, basically, because they lost 2 important pieces. You lost Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard. Like, those are like gargantuan sized pieces that they lost. But at the rate that they're going right now, and having Siakam being able to pick up a lot of that progression, it's only 5 games, but like in the Eastern Conference, the Eastern Conference is not that great. It's not that great of a conference. You got the Bucks and the Sixers at the top. Like you look at the Raptors and you're like, man, they still may be making some noise by the time the playoffs go around.
Because the thing is, they still have quality pieces in Van Fleet, Marc Gasol, Ibaka. So it's not. So they have notable names besides just Siakam and Lowry. So they have a complete team.
Yeah, and OG Anunoby too.
Yeah, it's just all about do you have what it takes? Do you have someone that's gonna put you over the top?
Right.
Siakam is trying to be that dude for them.
Yeah, so I'm happy to see where that goes with him because the Eastern Conference, like we need this. Like we're starved out here.
We've been starved for a while,
right? We're starved. I mean, we got Kevin Durant, but he's not coming back till 2020.
Yeah, and he confirmed that.
Yeah, I'm out here having to take like those shots, what in Call of Duty, they like stab themselves with shit trying to stay awake for West games and stuff. I'm out here having to pump myself up with shit to stay awake for West games. Start at 10:30. That's been brutal. So yeah, speaking of the West, because I just wanted to get some talking about certain teams that we may not get to through the podcast if we did not mention them first. But we all know, since it is Friday and we just got the news, this is what everybody actually cares about. Steph Curry is out for the next 3 months with a broken hand. Klay Thompson is probably not coming back this year. The Warriors are comprised of damn near like G League and G League talent and rookies, and it's not looking good. But we can cut straight to like the narrative things that people all want to talk about. We didn't chat about this, but I don't know if you saw it because you're not on Twitter. But the whole conversation right now is about Steph Curry and who he could carry, like Westbrook and James Harden and LeBron James and all that. And people were disappointed with Curry's performance for these last 3 games because this was his first time we've seen him without like all-stars around him and superstars around him and things like that. But my synopsis on the whole thing was, I don't think that's an equal comparison because the Warriors roster was like ass-tastic.
First off, this is, like you said, more or less G Leaguers, and also defense is a team job, not more over. It is individual, but as far as it is team effort, and as far as team, like I don't know what they're doing.
Right,
I think one game they were down by like 29 the first quarter.
Yeah, to the Suns. Yeah.
So even if you can say Steph Curry's a subpar defender, you can't put all that on him.
Right. So, but do you think is there another star out there that you see at any year that would be carrying this Western team, this team to to competing in the Western Conference? Do you see that? Because that's the whole thing is talking about, you're a superstar, you should be able to carry.
In the West, I don't know if there's too much missing because I know you can say what they lost. Livingston retired. They had to get rid of Iguodala. Then Clay's out. But I mean, a lot of those is veteran presence, people that know the system, also people who play defense. Mm-hmm. So now you got a whole bunch of fresh people in, don't know the system. Also got to actually see for once if Steve Kerr can actually coach, or if he's the narrative that he just inherited Mark Jackson's team.
Right.
So obviously, we still a lot of question marks as far as their whole because he hasn't had the coach for the past couple of years. He just let people play.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Like, I guess that's part of what people are looking at Steve Kerr for. When I did the best case scenario and worst case scenario for the Warriors, I was looking at the best case scenario, assuming that they would at least be able to figure it out between Steph and D'Angelo Russell over time on offense, right? Because we knew they were going to be trash on defense. But my whole thing was them staying up on offense well enough to get Klay Thompson back, sometime later in the season. But it's an interesting conversation when they talk about, if you gave LeBron James this team, they could go this far in the West. Or if you gave Harden this team, because the one thing I think is a little bit different that nobody's looking at is D'Angelo Russell doesn't really fit with Steph Curry. D'Angelo Russell's a point guard, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a point guard playing the two.
Like it was never like a perfect fit, even when their contrived plan of having Steph at the 1, D'Angelo at the 2, and Klay at the 3. That still was going to have two people not playing their primary position.
Exactly. It was always going to be weird. I was pointing that out in the previews about, Klay Thompson can't take both of their matchups because that was going to look weird with them in the backcourt.
And then even if you had another superstar that was giving you the production you wanted, I mean, the way they're getting blown out is like it's still going to come to the fact that you're going to need to get production from these other people, which you're not getting any production on offense or defense.
And so when I was looking at this conversation, because that's the big thing going on Twitter is, what superstar could carry this team? I was like, okay, well, if you were to put LeBron James on this team, you have D'Angelo Russell in his more natural spot of a point guard probably. You have LeBron James small forward, you have D'Angelo, and LeBron will probably play some point guard. But
I mean, granted, whenever LeBron's always kind of the pseudo point guard, regardless of what team he's on.
But I mean, at least like in his place on the court and on defense, he'd be in his spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be a little bit different almost. If you're looking at these other stars, most of the times it'll be different. If you have Westbrook on this team, he's in the point guard position. James Harden, who knows that they're going.
He'll just more or less play point because the ball's gonna be in his hand for 20 seconds anyway.
Yeah. So I just think that's an interesting thing because any part of an NBA season is always narratives, and they were about to cook Steph because he looked regular as shit.
I mean, but also you gotta realize that there was a lot of pent up frustration pointed at the Warriors by the entire league. So everyone in there wanted to get a piece.
Yeah, I was calling that the revenge tour. Like I was like next up on the revenge tour.
They're definitely gonna be laying hands on them.
Yeah, everybody was in Chase Center trying to touch them up for them last 5 years.
But my thing is that what is he gonna do for Draymond Green because he arguably he defensive player of the year. Their defense is atrocious.
Yeah.
And also, there's always the Draymond Green stands that were like, "Oh, Draymond isn't a system player. He can play on any team."
Right,
well, now like between Russell, like it's just him. So
yeah, and I put that on Twitter as well. I said that I believe Draymond Green is a narrative piece because depending on like what argument someone's making, he's either another all-star that the Warriors had that made them unfair, right? Or he's a scrub that wouldn't be good on another team, right? And it flip-flops back and forth because last year,
whatever point you need to prove, that's how they
last year when the Warriors were overpowered, and I agree, of course they were overpowered, but that was the whole thing. It's like Draymond Green and this
4 Hall of Famers.
But I've been on the sideline telling people forever, like individually, I never thought he was that great, and that's the part where people tell you, you don't know basketball. Draymond Green could play for any team. Like, look, and again, this Warriors team I don't think is a good way to judge that by because again, I don't see a lot of NBA talent on this roster right now. Like I look right now and I see some guys I don't even recognize at some points.
I mean, because I think there's this one play that keeps replaying in my mind from other games where they passed to one of the young players and like right under the hoop for that should be like an easy dunk. And they somehow blow it, and I'm like. You could, because Draymond Green being a playmaker he is, like he can make passes, but like when I was in middle school, I passed people, but they didn't hit layups. Like you're gonna be looking wild.
Yeah, that was Amari Spellman. He came back the next game and hit a putback. He had to prove he belonged after that because that shit was looking questionable. But okay, so we can go into this too because the narratives are always the fun thing. This Warriors team, are they as bad? Like, so when Steph Curry was there and they were healthy, right? Not no Klay Thompson. I'm just talking about the team that we watched over the last 3 games. I'm seeing comparisons to them to the 07 Cavs. How do you see that argument? They better than the 07 Cavs? They worse? Because that's the big thing. Is everyone saying, LeBron took the Cavs to the finals? So that's what do you think about that?
I mean, one thing you got to realize is that even if the Cavs team was trash, the Cavs team was at least had veteran presence. Like people that were on the Cavs team had been in the league for a while. They knew Larry Brown's system. Did they still have Z?
That was Mike Brown. Yeah, Mike Brown coaching. I get what you meant though. Yeah,
I mean messing up names.
Yeah, so they had,
but like it wasn't like they just had like they just scrubbed the barrel and then they put people out there.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. So immediately, what people do, this is a fan favorite right now when talking about this Warriors roster, is they say, oh, so you're telling me D'Angelo Russell and Draymond Green aren't better than any of the other players that were like on the team that Westbrook took to the playoffs in 2017 or the 07 Cavs. And I'm like, okay, but you name these two players, one of which, again, is Draymond Green, who y'all really like I said, y'all just make him fit anywhere, whatever you're talking about. And then you leave the entire rest of the roster off. Because 07 Cavs, like I know them pretty much off the top. You had Z.
They had names that you actually knew their names.
Yeah, Drew Gooden, Daniel Gibson, Larry Hughes, Daniel Marshall, Sasha Pavlovich. So first of all, it was a good defensive team. Vera Zhao, it was a good defensive team, and they had some shooters on there. And then I watched the Warriors.
Yeah, people love to ignore their how good they were defensively. Yeah, versus this Warriors team ain't doing nothing defensively or offensively.
Yeah, this Warriors team doesn't really have like that type of talent. So I'm like, and again, that goes back to the fit thing, because you make that argument. Okay, if D'Angelo Russell was playing this player, would he actually be playing in the position he's supposed to play? Because I've always thought that 2-point guard thing was disgusting. I've never liked that. 2 undersized point guards. I never want. And D'Angelo Russell isn't necessarily like height challenged or whatever, but his size, like he looks more like a point guard than he does a shooting guard.
But I still feel that comparison, given how early it is in the season, is kind of a hot take, because even though Steph hadn't been playing good, but he's going to eventually start having games where he is going to start putting up numbers that we were used to seeing. So,
and that was the question people had, though, because people were wondering, I don't know how many Warriors games you watched, but they were basically defenses were able to zero in on Steph. When he was coming off of screens, they were able to now do what you could never do: follow him with 2 people, show him 2 people at all times. You couldn't do that when you had Klay Thompson on the wing, or you had another, you had Kevin Durant out there. You couldn't do that back then. So defenses were able to key in on him a little bit more. I don't know if those numbers were coming. Like I said, I wasn't expecting a super Steph season once we got closer.
Because my thing is that if the defense could tighten up, I feel like he could just be like, screw field goal percentage and just start lobbing.
Right, and that's what's crazy now.
But the thing is that because it was just a complete dumpster fire, because both ends of the ball weren't being handled correctly.
And that's what's crazy now is, okay, we. When it was Steph Curry, when he was there and when he was healthy, we were saying him, D'Angelo Russell, at best case scenario, you get 60, 70 points out of them per night. And then that's still not enough to win a game. Like, you're wondering where the rest of it's going to come from. My goodness, what happens now? Like, you take Steph's potential 30 away, and it's like D'Angelo, God Lord, are they going to score like?
Because then they can just zero in on D'Angelo, because Draymond Green hasn't been able to hit a 3 in like a couple years.
Yeah,
so
I'm wondering.
I just don't know where any kind of production is going to go when they can just load up on D'Angelo now.
Because some nights, you can get some scoring from other pieces. Like that night they played the Clippers, they got blown out, but they still scored like 100 and something that night against the Clippers, even though they lost.
But you also got to realize that once a game is like out of reach, like people just be chilling at a certain point.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, so I don't know where any of the scoring is coming from. Draymond Green best they need to find some way to get Draymond Green off now, because here's what's gonna happen. Like Steph's hand is gone. 3 months for him. They said he's gonna be reevaluated in 3 months, which means
I'll just have him sit. I'd literally have him sit the whole year, and then
absolutely.
And then Draymond Green comes down with the mysterious injury.
Right? Yeah. No, they better say like he turned his ankle in practice, got like a high grade sprain.
Like how was it John Wall tore his Achilles in his house? I mean, like they might just fabricate something together.
They're gonna have to say Draymond slipped in the shower, like Joel Prisbilla. That's one for young people. They don't remember Joel Prisbilla. Or when like
Bynum tore something like a bowling alley.
Yeah. Bro, they're gonna have to send this man on all kind of escapades.
But the thing is that D'Angelo is definitely looking like trade bait right now.
Yeah, that too, because that was the whole thing when he first got there. People were wondering, okay, are they even going to keep him all season? And then Bob Myers came out and said, oh, he's here to stay. But GM say everything. Team management says everything. So they will be looking obviously to the 2020 season now.
Because let's just be real. This is a lottery team.
Yeah, and to that point, because we know that, again, reevaluating Steph in February, because that's 3 months from now. Like I don't know how they're going to stretch a broken hand.
Because after All-Star break, like the season's more or less.
Yeah, that's when
like,
you make your push.
That's when you're in panic mode, or you're trying to like cement your standing.
So you definitely don't want to bring Steph back in and have him come back and tear an ACL or something, because like God damn, that would.
Thankfully, it was his offhand that got broken, so that's not going to affect his shooting too much. Granted, if it was his right hand.
That's what I'm wondering. How are the Warriors planning to like stretch this so they can sit him all season? Because how you gonna fake an offhand injury to say like, okay, we're not gonna play. He's not playing. Once you get to February, he's still not ready. You're gonna kill April all the way to April. They got to stretch that shit.
They could stretch it in one way, because the way hand injuries work is that the way he fell, if you break, sometimes like he can have wrist issues associated with when you have hand issues like that.
Okay.
So I'm saying they might be able to like stress of being like, oh, he messed up his wrist too, and then like, oh, we did a diagnosis, so he got set back. I don't know. Like
the NBA about to come with a Phoenix Suns on them, bro. Bust down that locker room door, give him like a riding test or some shit. Yeah, so the Warriors need to find out however they can stretch that. They need to find a diagnosis for Draymond Green and get him out of there too, because at this point you're looking at 2020. You're looking at trying to get Giannis in 2021, the free agency there. Hold on, right? Okay, so this one coming up is the 2020 offseason. That's when Andre Drummond is the best free agent. So yeah, 2021 free agency is when Giannis is a free agent.
I'm pretty sure I recall Drummond saying something about like, it's time for me to get my bag, or like something about like something that was money related. But he said like, I was like, if he
I didn't mean like they were gonna sign Drummond. I was just thinking.
I was just thinking that Drummond has his eyes on the cash, so that's what he's probably be focusing on.
Yeah. So yeah, the Warriors need to be totally focused on the future now. But tanking doesn't help anything now, right? Because haven't the odds been flattened? So like, isn't that how the Lakers ended up with such a good situation? Even though they were fighting for a playoff spot, they still ended up with a high pick to be able to trade for Davis. And then the super sucky teams.
But granted, they're not going to get to like the worst record in the league, but as long as they're like near the bottom, that still gives them a decent shot at getting it a decent pick.
No, I should have better understood the Warriors' situation with the pick that was involved in the Kevin Durant and D'Angelo Russell trade. You don't know anything about that, do you? Because it's like protected.
No, I don't know which pick that was.
Yeah, maybe I'll hop on Google and try to bring that up at the end of the podcast. But there is a pick involved in that, and it has some type of protection. So whatever happens this season will influence how that ends up going for them. And this is just how fast dynasties fall. One day the Warriors are unbeatable juggernaut, and the next day they are lottery bound. Somebody said Warriors Cavs Part 5 in the lottery. That's what it's about to be. Speaking of that, I'm pretty sure. Oh shit, my bad. You haven't paid attention to the Cavaliers at all, have you, this season? Because most people haven't.
I only saw a little bit of the game where they played the Magic, and I was like, yeah, this is not a game I should be watching.
did Tristan Thompson go off against y'all?
The game was more or less dead set, so I was like, there are better games to be watching right now.
Tristan he's averaging 20 and 12 right now.
Wait, are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Yeah, no, Tristan Thompson right now is averaging 20 points and 12 rebounds through 4 games.
What's K-Love averaging?
K-Love, let me look up K-Love. By the way, Tristan Thompson is also shooting 60% field goal percentage. I saw that in a tweet. Look, I don't tell lies here, all right? If I'm not paying attention to a player or a team, there's someone, especially this season when there's so much to pay attention to. If I don't have my eyes on it, I'll tell you I don't have my eyes on it right now. I have not had my eyes on the Cavs. I saw a tweet about Tristan Thompson. I was like, wait, what? He's putting up better numbers than Kevin. Kevin Love is averaging 16 and 16 right now, actually. 16 and 17. So 16 points and 17 boards. He's one of
the few people with a 30-30 game. So
yeah, he's on his Minnesota days. But that's where we're at with with good old Tristan Thompson right now. So for any of y'all who didn't know that, because I know
I just can't imagine him working people like that.
What?
I mean, I always the rebounds, offensive rebounds, but in order to get 20, that means you're taking people back to the basket.
Right. So it's coming a year late, because you remember last year he said the East still ran through Cleveland. You remember that comment?
I saw that and I disregarded that.
Yeah. So that would have been it's like lag. This shit lagged like the numbers. So we'll see if Tristan Thompson ends up a 20 and 10 All-Star or 20 and 12 All-Star in the Eastern Conference. I think I'll stop watching basketball totally, because
they would have to Vucevic on the Magic barely made it when Magic were at like an 8th seed. And He was
Right.
like a 2010, so they'd have to be. So if he's like 9th, 10th, they're like, nah.
Yeah, I believe the Cavaliers. Everyone right now has like a weird record. Records don't really mean much right now because everybody is kind of like, it's only played a couple of games.
They're still
so
trying to feel things out.
yeah, good teams are at
And
like
also,
500.
depending on your schedule, your record ain't gonna really reflect how good you are.
Right. So that's what's going on with them. You caught the Carl Anthony versus Joel Embiid. So what Charles Barkley called it, the slumber party the other night.
Yeah, that was pure. That is literally an example of when you so big, you ain't never had to learn how to fight.
Go ahead.
Because I mean, the fact that they even got suspended for that pushing and shoving, like,
yeah, I mean,
like I remember if you look at like fight highlights where you could pull up stuff from like the 70s and 80s where dudes literally squared up like they're about to box.
I think I'm pretty sure like the malice in the palace changed all that because like if you start squaring up right now, they might pop you like 10 games or something. So I never really judge whether a guy can fight or not based off of these little scuffles, especially with Philly right now. Philly is 4-0, so I know Joel probably don't want to fuck up.
Ben Simmons put him in the sleeper hole and then get suspended.
Right? They called him a peacemaker. They called him a peacemaker. That's funny. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with Philly. They're 4-0 right now. Despite early on, I was a little bit worried about their shooting, but they are 4-0. Right behind them is the Miami Heat at 4-1. We were talking about this earlier. They hit the jackpot this summer, man.
Yeah, between Nunn and Hero
and Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
So again, very early, but I like some of what I've seen on the floor from them.
Because I mean, there's already the word on Hero that he was going to turn into a good player, but None came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so and they're setting records too. So for those of y'all that don't know, let me see if I can remember off the top of my head.
He had scored the most points in a rookie debut for a Heat player, and then
Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah, Nunn did, and then as far as I think I don't know how many games.
4 games.
Like 4 games. He had the most.
Well, they played 5 now.
But I think either 4 or 5. But he had the most points
for an undrafted player.
Yeah, for over that stretch.
Yeah, which is like 112 points. I think he scored.
112.
That's crazy. And then the other record was Tyler Hero, who they said he had the most points for a rookie off the bench or something like that for the Miami Heat.
But there's one game where he had like 19 and they had like 19 and a quarter.
Yeah. It was something like that. So, anyways, yeah, Miami is looking good. They are looking like a pleasant surprise. Again, I placed them at 4th this year. I thought they would be a good team regardless, but now you have a situation where, again, you drafted Tyler Hero, so that's all good. But then you get Kendrick Nunn, who was undrafted because of some off-court problems that he had. And so I'm not sure what he would have been projected to go as before that. Apparently, he played in the G League before this, too, so I'm not sure if this is his class.
I'm pretty sure he spent a year there.
Yeah, so it seems like, I mean, the way he's playing on the court right now, it seems like they picked up like damn near like a top 10 talent undrafted.
Because if you're going on the current rookie of the year projection, like he's probably what most people have as the number one, as the front runner right now, 5 games in.
Yeah, 5 games in. There's a lot of good.
I mean, there's a lot of rookies that are actually balling right now.
Yeah, the rookie of the year thing is going to like take twists and turns all year because I don't think it's going to be a 2-man race.
And also, I think given how these other rookies are playing, when Zion comes back and if he starts playing where we think he is, he might not get it just because he's not going to get it because he missed those games.
I think it would be tough for Zion because at this point we don't even know if he's going to be back by Christmas. So let's say we see him in like January. That means he missed all of November, all of December. Like it would be really hard to win Rookie of the Year coming back, from that stretch, and especially with the crop of rookies we have right now. Like you got John Morant, you got R.J. Barrett. Now you have Kendrick Nunn in the Rookie of the Year race. Tyler Hero will be there as well.
Also, Pelicans looking kind of rough between him out, Drew Holiday out.
He's out again?
When he was out.
Okay.
He was out for at least a game or two. Well, I had a college game where they didn't have him or Derek Favors, and it was I forget who they playing, but it was kind of rough.
That might have been the night they lost to the Warriors.
Oh, yep, that was the night.
Like, something had to happen because like everybody can get a piece of the Warriors right now. But yeah, if you're a Miami fan, you feel good because like this is some this is franchise changing luck if it plays out that way. Obviously, like you get two bangers in the draft and Jimmy Butler in the same summer, and you're in the Eastern Conference, which is again not that great.
Because before we just thought it was gonna be Winslow, Dragic, and Butler, and then everyone else who's there, but now all of a sudden they got pieces they weren't expecting to have. So
yes.
And also people that are like Nunn's like right now I'm pretty sure he's the starter until
Waiters.
So they gave him a reason for him not to be. So.
Let me see because I know the whole thing going on with Miami right now is Waiters is obviously losing his spot because of this nice crop of rookies.
I mean, Waiters, I forgot all about him, but
yeah,
he would be trade bait if he had any value above a bag of chips.
So Kendrick Nunn is starting, and he's averaging 22 points a game at the moment. He just straight buckets, bro. 22 at 51%. That's a literal my career story.
Yeah.
Like undrafted, playing in G League, then you come and you score 40 in the preseason. And everyone's like, oh, it's just preseason. And he comes in and he's doing the same damn thing, bro. That's a good story for Miami, definitely. All right, so moving on down the line in the Eastern Conference, what did you think of Trae Young and all the glory of 3 games he got to play before he had that nasty roll? I don't know how many games he actually got to play, but what were you thinking? Because that was crazy.
Granted, one of the games was against the Magic, so it was another one of the games where they shooting in the 30s, but they somehow kept it close, and yeah, he was torching them.
And then he had that bank shot at the end.
Yeah, I had to turn the TV off, bro. I was pissed.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Jamal Crawford putting y'all out of the playoffs in 2011.
Because I was pissed because obviously it's no secret that the Magic for a while needed a point guard, and the draft board said he was still going to be there when the Magic had their pick.
Shit.
So I was like, oh, the Magic going to get him, but then they did that Luka trade.
Wow.
And then that's why he did it. That's why the Magic ended up getting Bamba. So all that was going on while the shot. So I was like, yeah, I need to go walk this off.
I didn't realize. Yeah, you're right. That was a thing. Ouch. Because he, in this little run he was having, it looked like it was about to be one of those really big second year jumps, which he can still have. I don't know if you heard the ankle.
Sprain. We both had sprained ankles before.
Yeah. Except I was on crutches for months afterwards.
I don't know what you did, but
I don't have NBA, health
you also
care.
don't got like those hyperbolic chambers they be putting you in. We got NBA money, so.
Also, they said with Trae Young, this was a thing where if somehow, I don't get NBA ankle injuries. Like
that that looked nasty.
Yeah, it looked nasty, but they came out on Twitter afterwards and said, oh, if this was a playoff game, he'd be here tomorrow. Like, what the his ankle went all the way to the other side, fam. Like, what do you mean he'd be playing tomorrow?
What kind of stretching he doing?
Right. But yeah, no, Young was looking nice. I was watching him through the. I made sure to tune in. That's what it's called. Again, you don't follow on Twitter, so you don't know. But people call it the Dom curse because. Have you and Eric discussed the Dom curse at all?
No, we never talked about it.
Yeah, that's the thing that goes on Twitter because every player I end up cheering for or whatever happens, I say they're gonna win. Like the opposite immediately happens, or just a curse in general. Like with the Steph Curry thing before he broke his hand, I tweeted out. I was like, the Warriors need to get Steph and Draymond out of here because Satan is coming to collect on his debts. And then 3 minutes later, Aaron Bain falls on his hands. I put Trae Young on my standing list on Twitter, then he rolled his ankle that same night. So welcome to the Dom curse, especially if any of y'all are watching this podcast and had not heard of it. Anyways, I gotta look at Trae Young's stats, but he looked like he had just take that major jump.
He dropped 40 on the Magic. I know that.
Yeah, he was averaging through the first only few games, but 38.5 points, and on top of that, he had players. The team's ultimate sign of respect is when teams are double teaming you. Sending multiple guys at you from the jump, and that's how teams were defending him after he got done with y'all. After he got done with Orlando. Did you watch the Hawks play the Sixers? At all?
No, I didn't catch that one.
Yeah. So Hawks playing the Sixers, and they were showing him multiple bodies, and this is only his second year. So I talked about having respect for him in the last podcast for him coming in and being a guy trying to emulate Steph Curry's style of play and actually doing a decent job. The first one that's
he's actually doing a decent job at it.
Yeah. So it looks like he'll be back. Because if the Hawks make the playoffs this year, that's 2 new teams because the Heat are going to make it this year without injuries.
I definitely think Hawks are going to be much improved, so I think you have to look out for them.
Yeah, the Magic, y'all are going to want to get snug in the East here because, they'll be trying to come for you. So we see that the Knicks and Bulls are probably not going to make the playoffs this year. For some reason, the Bulls, they're 1-4, all that talent on the team. People hate their coach, Jim Boylan.
I think he didn't have punch cards. We
can go ahead and talk about that because we missed that story before. I think that story came out the day we were on podcasting. Yeah, they said he was punching time cards. What did you think about that? Because I listened to T-Mac's reaction about it. What was your thoughts?
The thing is that I was I've played on basketball teams before, and I wasn't getting paid, but I was still putting in the work.
Right.
If I was getting paid even a minute amount of money to play ball, you wouldn't have to worry about me being in the gym. So
exactly.
I feel if you're a serious professional, you want to hone your craft,
mm-hmm.
regardless of what industry it is, then just as a person, like you want excellence.
Yeah.
So I feel like it is a little arbitrary, but like I don't know what kind of culture he wants to build, because that's like almost like I don't know what exactly he wants, because they were like saying like, you know, he was trying to like emulate Popovich, or like you're not Popovich, but like I don't know Popovich went into a punch
Yeah,
cards.
I never heard about Popovich and time. If he did, I'm just ignorant, but I never heard about Popovich and time cards. And what people were saying, you know, there's multiple perspectives. First, you know, some people who like it say, hey, he's just trying to build the right culture. Then there's, you know, like another perspective, like you said, where if you have an environment that your players enjoy being in, you don't need time cards.
Because, I mean, the thing is that I think when you want accountability, you want the players to be not only be accountable to themselves, but like to their other teammates. You want accountability to be done within the team.
Yeah.
Usually top-down approach when it comes to that tends to not, especially given the way the NBA is with people's personalities. I feel like that's not necessarily the best way. This isn't college. This isn't high school.
Yeah, because I feel like time cards would kind of have teammates looking funny at each other, you know, because then you see, I'm not sure how it works exactly with
they'd be like, oh, I was in the gym.
Those are your hands. That scared the shit out of me. Yeah, I have lights under my set. If those of y'all listening to the podcast, I have lights under the island on my setup, and I'm looking at the wall behind Rod, and I saw fingers moving because it's the shadow over the lights. That was scaring the shit out of me. I was like, okay, continue. My bad.
But yeah,
scared the shit out of me.
It can also be like a negative culture where like, oh, I just need to do enough, just be like middle of the road as far as how everyone else is doing, or just do barely enough, better than like the best person, versus, you know, having like Jimmy Butler showing up like 5 hours early to practice.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I don't know,
because he could.
I don't know who exactly sees the time cards, but if everyone gets to see how much time, you know, their buddy spent in there, I don't know. I just feel like you start looking at each other weird when you see it on the numbers, right?
Yeah.
And then you see that this guy hadn't been in that much. I feel like that might have a little bit of a negative effect.
Yeah, last thing you want is, you know, people getting confronted over some dang time card, like.
And I can see it from both perspectives too. Again, the whole thing about it's a young team. They haven't been to the playoffs since D Rose was there, right? Pretty much. So yeah, I can see the whole thing about he's trying to build something. I get that. Did you see Tracy McGrady's take on it?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, T-Mac was basically like, I get paid millions of dollars to play. These are young guys on the team, but I guess he was talking from a veteran perspective.
But they're still getting paid more than me.
Yeah. He's like, if I'm getting paid millions of dollars to play, he's like, I'm not punching the time card. And people got mad at him for that because they started calling him out of touch with the work world, basically, you know, with the real work world. Because he brought up how he never, the NBA was his first real job, and people in the comment section were raging at T-Mac saying the NBA is not a real job and all that shit. I went off on stream about that, so I don't really need to go into that here. So anyways, yeah, that's the whole time card thing that happened last week. When we brought up Jim Boylan, I wish that would have been there.
But also, last thing on the time card is that technically you're only getting paid for the games, so like everything out of that is technically extra, besides practice, is extracurricular. So like, yeah, and I feel like, and I just feel it's just a different beast compared to, you know, its usual use. And I feel like a team has great chemistry and has a great environment. Again, that's not something they're going to need at all. Like, you're not going to need to influence people to be at the facility. They're going to be there anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, they're going to be there. So that's the time card. But anyways, they are 1-4 right now. They're having a miserable start to their season, despite all the young talent on the team. I liked it. I really like what they had. The reason we got on the subject is because I was looking at where the Magic would need to be to make it, considering that the Hawks might be in play this year and Miami's going to be in play. The Nets are 1-3 right now. So right now the Nets and Pacers are on the outside looking in, but Pacers are gonna get Oladipo back at some point during the season. The Nets, what have you thought about Kyrie's Nets time so far from what you've seen?
I mean, first off, Kyrie's a magician, so
yeah. Absolutely.
So I mean, we don't, as far as his individual play, I don't think we need to dive too much into that. He's playing a lot more comfortable than he did when he was with Boston, I would say. Well,
yeah, because that's what, on the Nets, it's kind of like, especially with not having Kevin Durant this year, Kyrie kind of gets to do what he wants. You know, there's not a bunch of young guys like there was with Tatum and Brown and Rozier behind him and Hayward who really needed those shots. The Nets have some decent players, obviously.
Also, the Nets made the playoffs last year, and even though KD's out, they didn't really lose. Because obviously Kyrie is greater than Russell, I don't think we need to debate
Yeah,
that.
yeah, of course.
So granted, you could say they did elevate, and I mean they still have decent pieces, and Dinwiddie being their sixth man and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I think it's just they just had like a bad shake so far. But
yeah, and they've been in close games too.
I think they're gonna start winning some of those close games.
Yeah, they've been in close games. They were in one close game with the Wolves and with the Grizzlies. So that's just kind of like the nature of the NBA. But as far as the fit, I mean, with Boston and Nets fans, I think we should both be happy because, again, the Nets got to upgrade. You're going to get KD back next year. I'm happy with it, even if Boston falls a little bit. I'm still happy with it because I feel like Kemba just fits better. I think he fits the culture better in Boston than Kyrie did. I think he fits the play style better because that was the thing. He was being really hesitant, it looked like, when he in his first few games, trying to let Tatum and them go off. So I just feel like everyone should be happy across the board, honestly. Then looking at the Western Conference, what do you think about the Suns? Do you think they're gonna be keeping this up? Because the Suns are the surprises here, even with DeAndre Ayton.
I mean, I haven't seen any of their games because I was thinking how they usually play the past couple of years.
Right.
So I know they've been winning games, but given the fact that I haven't seen them play, I have to. I'm definitely gonna start peeking at it more, but. Yeah, there's only like five games in.
Yeah,
and a lot of teams aren't playing to how you expect them to play. Like the Bucks are 500 right now. When hypothetically you would think they'll be 3-1 or 4-0. So
exactly. Yeah.
So I still think you need to have 10, 15 games before you can kind of gauge where teams are right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I just wanted to bring the Suns up because I have plenty of people asking me about the Suns.
And also, being Golden State right now ain't even though they were up 21 to 29 in the first quarter, they were torching them. But at the same time, it was literally gonna be your turn, my turn when it came to who's gonna be whacking Golden State this year.
Yeah, whack a warrior. With Phoenix, people have been asking me all types of questions about them, and I don't think in the Western Conference they'll be in the playoffs this year. I do think they're still going to be a nice surprise because when you look at the roster, for some reason, the roster was really not brought up a whole lot this summer, but they got decent additions there where you have Ricky Rubio, you have Dario Saric.
I mean, their big thing is that they need to start showing improvements because you don't want Booker to leave when he can.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad that they are at least, as a team, it looks like they got some decent pieces, and even though Aiden won't be back.
Even though I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs in the West, they need to at least be 10th,
they don't need to be no 15th.
No 10, 15 games won kind of thing.
Right. It's just encouraging right now because when the season started, people were looking at this saying, wow, every team in the Western Conference can show something except Phoenix. That was the talk, especially once Aiden got suspended. But yeah, they sit in 9th right now at 3-2, and they're being competitive. So if you're a Phoenix fan, especially after the Aiden thing, that's really all you can ask. People are saying Luke Walton killed the Kings. Basically, have you been hearing about that? Because they're 0-5.
I know they're 0-5, but haven't. And I know what's his name broke his
Bagley
broke his thumb or finger or whatever.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen any of the games, so
yeah. The Kings.
I don't know. Score wise, how they're getting their points or how their defense
right
looks.
Yeah, the Kings look promising, but people did not like Luke Walton from his Lakers stint, and they don't like him from his Kings stint right now. They looked promising, but right now it looks like it's going to be another King season. Looks like that stretch is probably going to go on to its 14-year drought because you start 0-5 in the West. It's really hard to recoup if you're not a team.
Don't they have the longest playoff drought?
They probably do.
When's the last time the playoffs when they actually had the boys together?
06.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I had multiple teams besides the Magic. I like the Kings and Detroit when they had those early 2000 squads together.
Mm-hmm.
But once those broke up, then the Magic was kind of because it's the hometown.
Yeah, it's nothing like that right now. So yeah, I mean, as far as the NBA section of the podcast, that'll probably do it. I didn't think we really needed to say much about the Hardwood Classic that happened with Houston and the Wizards because there's not a lot that has changed there. Harden and Westbrook still figuring it out when they're on the floor together, but when they are running their own units, I think that looks nice. As much as people were dunking on Conley, the Jazz are 4-1 and they lead the Western Conference right now. Lakers are 3-1. The Clippers are doing the load management thing with Kawhi Leonard. That's going to be interesting to see how that turns out in the Western Conference.
I mean, the thing is that what the Clippers have that a lot of people don't have is good bench production.
Yeah, true.
So having good bench production can carry you. and then Lou Williams is still, and then once they get, when Paul George is slated to come back.
Yeah, PG. They said he was. I'm pretty sure they said he was gonna miss like November or most of November,
So
if not
it'll be
all
like
of it.
December.
Yeah, he'll be back next month more than likely.
So once they get all the pieces together, I don't really think they're going to be much of it. There's not going to be any changes in what we think about their projection.
Yeah, I projected them to be a second seed. I gave LA the first seed because I knew the Clippers were going to do this load management thing. Kawhi Leonard has already missed a game, and they lost that game. I forgot who they played. But once Paul George comes back, that'll probably be a lot easier to give him games off. It's just right now without him that looks a little bit crazy sometimes. Spurs 3-1. Dallas and LA play tonight. That's going to be really good. Dallas is 3-1. Porzingis and Luka are looking nice. Damn, the Western Conference is stacked.
Going back to Leonard, do you know why they always do low management? Or
because that condition in his quad is not just gone.
It's not all the way.
Yeah,
okay.
as far as I know.
That's kind of what I figured, that they were just kind of like, there's still some inhibitions, but I wasn't.
Yeah, as 100%. Far as I know, that thing with his quad is degenerative, I guess. It's actually like an issue. So it's not something that like it was just an issue one time and they let it go. Like it's something that needs to be constantly tended to.
That probably, I didn't know it was degenerative. That might explain why there was so much drama.
Yeah, I think I might be ignorant as fuck right now. I remember when I was hearing about that. I was pretty sure that was a thing. But yeah, man,
I'll definitely peek into that then.
Yeah, in the West, it looks like the only teams. It looks like you'll have this year. Looks like the Kings won't be competing for the playoffs. We knew the Thunder wouldn't. The Pelicans are going to be getting Zion back so late that I don't think they will. So that's 3. The Grizzlies, I think they're going to be a little bit better right now. They're a young team. They got to get it together around John Morant. The Warriors won't be competing. And then after that, the Suns look like they'll be competing. And everybody else after that is like a surefire playoff team. And there's only 8 spots. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your Western Conference. And that is pretty much our topics for the NBA thing. I said we were going to do more than NBA today since it was just me and Rod. Eric likes anime as well, but because y'all know on the podcast, if you followed me before I brought them in, I was doing anime and games because there was like nothing to talk about during the NBA season. Eric doesn't do anime. Eric does anime, but he doesn't really do video games. Rod actually does both, so we're going to take the end of this podcast to go on to that. Rod, tell the people what type of anime you like. What are your shows? Because they pretty much know they know where I am. They listen to me. Drill that in their heads through the end of summer. So what do you like with anime and games?
Right now I don't have much time because I'm in grad school to watch stuff the way I want to watch. But typically I watch more or less anything. Like I like shonens like everyone else. I prefer seinens personally over shonens. But also unlike Eric and Dom, I do watch slice of life, romance, drama.
Right.
Fantasy. Right. I'll watch any. I'm a connoisseur. I watch more or less anything as long as I determine that it's good.
And what shows are you specifically watching at the moment?
So, granted, saying that I don't have much time, I've more or less kind of turned into the manga reader. So,
okay.
So, most of the shows that actually are like popular right now, like Demon Slayer, Vinland Saga, all the popular ones. I had read I read the comics for like a year before I've been caught up with them for like years and whatnot. So it's kind of hard for me to start watching a show where I more or less know what's going on when there's only like.
And that's Demon Slayer you're talking about?
Yeah, when there's only like 5 episodes.
Yeah.
5 episodes out. So when it's like a show like that, I tend to kind of let it build out and watch stuff that I might not necessarily have read or seen before.
Right. Okay, that's cool. So that's a little bit of an anime dive. I guess we'll come back to that because before this, we were playing Call of Duty before the podcast, and Call of Duty came out last week. So and people consistently come on my streams asking me what I think about COD, and I keep telling them the same thing. I'm streaming. I can't even really focus right now. So I just know that the gun, it feels like Battlefield to me, and the maps, for Call of Duty, I don't really love them. But what do you think about the game so far? We get another perspective because they're going to keep hearing the same thing from me on Twitch for like the next month. So what do you think about COD?
As far as like the guns and the gunplay, like I like how it feels crisp, but my main issue right now is with the with the maps, to be honest, because it's like freaking might as well be a tent city because people camping everywhere. Like there's always a nook. Like people just be posted up in corners
always.
And I was just like, it is what it is till I saw somewhere, like I saw like a snippet of like an interview with like some devs, and they said that they had made it like campy on purpose to like help the noobs, so they
That's
wouldn't just like go out and
crazy.
get killed or whatnot.
That's
like
crazy.
something crazy like that, where it's kind of like, so they have like somewhere to hide, like they like take it slow, like come on, man.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they also
yeah.
said that they increase like the gun damage for that reason too, so they can actually get kills.
So they made the Call of Duty. They made this COD easier.
So I feel like
basically.
they might be trying to like, they try to do a thing where they're like kind of like bridge the player gap to like. But the thing is that at this point, everyone who plays COD is more or less a hardcore to a certain extent, where
Right.
like you know you're good or you know you're trash, and you just kind of live with it.
Exactly.
But also they need nerf the 7.25 just, or the shotguns in general, because like people literally be posting up in the window sniping with it, and I don't think that's right.
I used to snipe with a shotgun. Yeah, I've played it. I've logged a good amount of time on the game just because I've been streaming it, and time goes really fast when you're streaming. So I agree. Everybody I talked to so far says the same exact thing. Like I hit up a friend and I asked him about the game, and I asked him, just what do you think about COD? He said too many fucking campers. Like that was everyone's answer so far is the camping
Because
thing.
the problem is that you make the camping for the new players, but now the
yeah.
pros are sitting in the camping spots killing me.
Right? Yeah. What do you consider yourself as a Call of Duty player? Like, are you one of the you consider yourself good, or are you just like you just there?
I'm good on certain modes.
Yeah. Like which one?
Preferably domination and team deathmatch. But if you put me on like some search and destroy, or like cyber attack, or hardcore search and destroy, cyber attack, hardcore, like I be getting
Wax.
I be getting whacked, bro.
Right. Yeah, I've only really played team deathmatch, and again, that's funny with with the whole thing we were talking about with the noobs and all that, because on team deathmatch you find all the people that aren't that great. I come in and I wax team deathmatch, then I get in a gunfight. Like you sat here and watch me play gunfight, getting fucking waxed.
I think because in team deathmatch even though there is still be camping, there's less camping because the spawns are very are gonna be more diverse, because there's no like set place of the map you control, which is unlike domination. Right. So people have less time to like get to the spot, and there's gonna be more movement. But like as far as like on Dom, like if you don't get like, you mess around, you know your team's not the first one to get B, and they know like people that know what they're doing, like you might be in for a rough road.
Yeah, so far with gunfight, like you said, it keeps you on your feet, because the match starts. As soon as you move, you can see your opponents across the map most of the part. Whether you can actually hit them or not, depending on the weapon, that totally depends. But yeah, you can't really just get to a spot and camp, because you might get shot on the way there. Buddy might beat you there.
My one problem is that I'm not a sniper, but I feel like everybody else is. So if I'm playing gunfight and like they give me a sniper, I'm like, well, I guess I know how this is going.
That one snipe you just saw before we got on here, that might have been my only snipe in my Call of Duty career, basically. Like I let that bitch fly. I didn't even aim that. When they give us snipers in gunfight, I switch to the secondary, and I'm like, let me just try to get behind him, basically, because I'm not hitting nobody with that. But yeah, so far, I said it. I forgot what your answer was. I said the game feels like Battlefield to me. Is that accurate? Because it just, I don't know, something about the way it looks, the way it feels. It doesn't feel like Call of Duty at all.
It's definitely, especially the mode that has like the whole bunch of players. That just feels like some like Battlefield, just felt like Battlefield.
Oh yeah, which mode is that? What's the name of that?
Like ground, I think it's ground war.
And they have vehicles, right?
Yeah, there's vehicles in it too. So yeah, that one just feels straight like Battlefield, but like
I'm about to hop on that.
Like a while ago.
I'm about to hop on that after we record. Yeah, because I forgot me and my trainer were talking about that mode and saying how much we couldn't wait, and then I got on stream and forgot it existed. Yeah, because what vehicles you got on there? Tanks, probably.
Yeah, pretty sure it's everything. Helicopter. I haven't been on that much.
That's
either,
literally
like,
Battlefield.
Like helicopters, tanks. But
Right.
the thing is that it's a sniper fest.
Right. Oh yeah.
Because it's a huge map, so you gotta keep that in mind too.
Yeah. See, I just don't have the patience for sniping in any
Because
game.
also, going back to the camping, is that in old Call of Duties, you want to just have maps that were just buildings. Like you have some that have like, open fields or like other structures or just one building. But like all the maps I've been on so far, there's some kind of building structure, except for maybe like Piccadilly, which is still building, but there's still like kind of like an open space-ish a little bit in the middle. But like most of them are just building, which leads way to camping.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna try that.
But good luck crossing the street at any map because you already know how that's gonna go.
Yeah, and I already played gunfight and see that these snipers are real. Like these dudes know what they're doing. Like you saw, they had eyes on my building. I tried to pop out like for a second. I was gone just like that.
See that sniper glare? It's already over.
Yeah. As soon as you see that light, that's the light. You go into that light. So yeah, that's a little bit about Call of Duty for y'all. I want to know about just personally because you were telling me about Death Stranding as we were leaving earlier. Can you explain like what that game is actually about to me and the people who might not know?
My problem is that I didn't know crap about the game, but the more trailers I watched, I know like less than crap about the game.
Really?
So like as far as like story and whatnot, I can't really tell you much about it. But as far as what the game is that I think it's gonna be it's not gonna be a prototypical game. Like I don't think everyone who plays is gonna like it because I think it's gonna be it's not gonna be their typical gameplay loop.
Right.
So, I mean, dude straight up looks like a freaking Amazon delivery worker. Where if you see like live in the mountains, but they still guarantee 2-day shipping. So my thing is that I know the probably story is gonna be a good story. I mean, Kojima knows what he's doing more in that from Metal Gear. So I trust him in putting a narrative and a system together. But as far as what it is, I don't know if it's gonna necessarily appeal to every gamer.
Yeah, and for me with Death Stranding, so far my knowledge of it goes, I've seen it on like a 5-second sponsored ad on Twitter. Like I haven't seen anything about it, so I don't know anything about the game. Is this one of those where
literally I've seen more or less every trailer, and it's literally told me stuff, but at the same time it's told me next to nothing at the same time, where I still don't know what the heck's going on. But there's still some like overarching thing about like connecting and like people like
right.
So like or the grid.
From what you've seen, is it one of these like graphic showcases? Like, is it amazing, lifelike graphic? Because I've only seen like 5-second spills.
A lot of the main characters in it how actually like motion captions of real people. So like the main character you play as is Norman Reedus. You know for The Walking Dead. So that's actually the dude you play as.
Okay.
I think his name is Sam in the game. And also, Guillermo del Toro is in it, and there's also other notable actors in it. So like they have some names in it. So it's not so. As far as like a cinematic piece, it's definitely gonna be there.
Right. Yeah. Because see, it looks pretty nice from these screenshots I'm looking at, especially since we're pretty much at the end of these console life cycles. But again, that totally depends on the company that's making the game and all that. I don't know. Y'all on the pod, if you follow me on stream, you might see me playing this. Again, I try not to play games that I actually have to focus on stream because that is very difficult to do. When I basically ended the games, I never ended the games and anime thing, but the season started, I was telling y'all I had finished up Red Dead. Rod, Red Dead is pretty much officially a year old. Why have you not finished Red Dead, aside from like grad school and not? Because that's a... You put a lot of time into the game. You haven't beat it yet.
I put like 50 hours in it, but it's just things came up, and then I ended up playing other games.
True.
The thing is that I only, given my timetable, I didn't mess around. I started playing other long games. So like I was like playing like Persona 5, and they're like that game takes forever. I was playing other stuff that's taking forever. So it was like.
Did you play Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I was playing that too.
You haven't beat that either?
No. So like I'm just so backlogged right now that I'm just trying my best.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I don't know how you feel about it, but that is one thing that I miss about the old generation of games, is I felt like I could buy a PS2 game and I could kind of just get through it and move on to the next thing. Whereas PlayStation 4, I feel like that my case is just full of stuff that I either like I played a third of it or I played half of it, and it's just there.
I think part of it is just the fact of growing up.
Absolutely.
When I was in middle and high school, I just had more time, and not just more time, but I had more like engagement with video games versus in college. I had to focus on my books so much because I was doing computer science to the point where I had basically weaned myself off of video games to the point where I was like, oh, my PS4 is just there, and like I had free time, but I wasn't playing it.
Yeah, facts. When I was in the 6th grade, I used to put games over grade sometimes. It's like I used to come home and just be like.
But like in the olden days, like that was daily.
But still, but yeah, so absolutely, that is a part of it. Is, you know, we just had more time back then. But you also have to admit, like a game like Red Dead, how you're playing it. You know, you said you put like 50 hours into it, so that means you're probably going through like every little.
Oh yeah, I was also doing everything.
Yeah, you were doing like every little side mission. Dude asked you to find his like pet tiger or some shit. You going?
Oh yeah, I did. That zoo mission. Yeah, I did that.
Did you actually completed that?
Yeah, I finished that zoo
because I came across the house. Maybe it's maybe he's in a different place every time, but like later in the game, I came across the house and I heard like a roar or some shit like that. It was like an old like broke down house.
Oh, that's probably a bear in there.
Yeah, because
I literally went in the house and I got a bear just literally like charged. It was literally in the house and charged at me.
Because something, I can't remember the details now, but something popped up to make me think it was a continuation of this guy's zoo animal. But like I heard that fucking roar and I backed off. I went and got my horse and dipped. But yeah, Red Dead is a Euro game. Only reason we're talking about it now is because y'all following the podcast know that that's one of the recent games I played. I finally finished it. I found it interesting that he had put 50 hours into that game and hadn't finished it, but that's just how much content is there. And then Death Stranding is gonna be another game that you're gonna throw.
And also, I'll be doing like stupid stuff. Like I'll be fishing for like 30 minutes or stuff like that.
You enjoy that?
Yeah, like fishing and hunting. Yeah, I'll be doing stuff like that.
Yeah, see, I didn't do that at all because I realized I was not gonna finish this game if I did that.
See, I was doing stuff that was outside of the story gameplay loop, so I was like, oh no.
Right? Can you imagine? I mean, I don't know if there's ever gonna be another Red Dead, but like something like Red Dead on the PlayStation 5, that's gonna be crazy. You said you're getting PS5 day one, correct?
I mean, for the PS4, I like wait a year because I usually wait till like games build up, but like at this point, like this might be a day one considering the rumors that like it's gonna be like the biggest like leap in hardware from any generation, and then Sony's already showed me that they know what they're doing when it comes to exclusive titles between God of War, Spider-Man.
Yeah, we're gonna
Uncharted,
we're gonna get a God of War on the PS5 too, aren't we? Because
that story's far from over.
Geez, so like in the way the event, that's another game. You beat God of War on PS4, yeah. So the adventure that was on PS4, like imagine that on the PlayStation 5. I'm like you said you just trying to like survive into it, so I'm walking up to play that shit, right?
Yeah, every time I get on the highway, it's like I can't die. Right? I can't die today.
It's crazy ass Florida drivers. I'm about to wrap myself in bubble wrap for the next year. Like I have to make it to the PS5. Like after that, I can go happily, but I have to make it to the PS5. So yeah, anyways, we made it to an hour. Eric is not here today, so we can't get his opinions on anime and games. Hopefully he'll be here next week. And yeah, we're going to try to throw some of those topics in there as well, because since we do the NBA podcast weekly, we get only so much can happen in the NBA from week to week, right? So, a couple of good games, a couple of big stories. Like this week, we had a couple of big stories, but I do want to try to preserve the anime and games things in there. So we'll try to throw some of those in there, and yeah, we'll ask Eric some of those questions when he gets back on next week. And yeah, for those of y'all that don't know, I do stream on Twitch these days. So this is coming out on a Saturday. I'm not going to stream on a Saturday, but I'm going to probably stream on Sunday morning. So make sure to follow me on twitch.tv/Dom_2K. I am migrating to Twitch because Andre Drummond's going to be the best free agent in 2020. So I think that's going to end my YouTube career because it's not going to be shit to talk about for like 4 or 5, 6 straight months. Ain't going to be shit to talk about. So yeah, make sure to hit me up on Twitch. I'm doing that more frequently. Rod, do you have any final words? I'll let you say anything if you want. Otherwise, we can bounce.
No, we can just pull the plug. Y'all stay safe out here.
Yeah, because you don't
Streets wild, bro.
Yeah, because you don't have Twitter or anything like that. Yeah, me and Eric are working to get Rod on Twitter for when this podcast gets bigger and people want to know who else is on here. So yeah, appreciate y'all watching. Oh yeah, remember that this show is on Spotify and it is on iTunes as well. So if that is easier for you to digest, you can find those in the link in the comment section and description. Make sure to hit the bell next to the channel name if you want notifications when this drops every single Saturday. Appreciate you watching, and we will see you next week. Hopefully we'll have all 3 of us.